like to welcome you to our 2016 Black History Month celebration. Each year, a theme is chosen, and this year's theme is Hallowed Grounds, Sites of African American Memories. The theme celebrates many of the places that our sister agency, the National Park Service, has preserved, where Black Americans such as Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Booker T. Washington, Frederick Douglass, and our guest speaker, Queen Quet, have left their marks. These are special places where brave men and women have tirelessly fought for freedom and equality. It's very fitting that our guest speaker today is none other than Queen Quet, chiefess of the Gullah Geechee Nation. Many of you may have remembered Queen Quet's powerful words if you were here during our 2013 Black History Month celebration. How many folks were here? Oh, great. So we have a lot of returning participants, so you guys know you're in for a treat. Queen Quet is no stranger to the struggles to preserve a culture or to the battles to preserve the lands of her people. She is the founder of the premier advocacy organization for the continuation of the Gullah Geechee culture, the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition. Queen Quet was elected by her people to be the first Queen Mother and is referred to as Head Conde Bunny. I did good? And is the official spokesperson for the Gullah Geechee Nation. As a result, she is respectfully referred to as Queen Quet, chiefess of the Gullah Geechee Nation and head of state. Queen Quet is a conservation partner of the Department of Interior. In fact, it's this very relationship that prompted ARD David Viker to invite Queen Quet back, to once again share her passion for conservation and her love of the lands of the Gullah Geechee people. Queen Quet is a member of the National Park Relevancy Committee and proudly works to protect the environment and to ensure that diverse groups of people have an opportunity to engage in the outdoors. Queen Quet also helped pass the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Act. This act, passed in 2006, provides funding for the preservation and interpretation of historic sites relating to the Gullah culture. And I could go on and on. Her accomplishments and accolades I would take up the whole time that we have for the presentation. And you don't want to hear me talk the whole time. So believe me, visit their website and purchase some of her materials. And there's just so much that she's done. But remarkable human being. Yeah, just as Martin Luther King helped to create hallowed grounds here in Atlanta, Ebenezer Baptist Church, King's Childhood Home, and the place where he and his wife, Coretta, were laid to rest. Queen Quet is creating hallowed grounds along the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor, which extends from Wilmington, North Carolina in the north to Jacksonville, Florida in the south. And now I proudly present to you Queen Quet, chiefess of the Gullah Geechee Nation. As is protocol, when a queen enters a room, could everybody please stand?
Like the children that Moses led, like the chill of the sunlight. I want to cross over to see my Lord. Near Chile, Jordan, near away. Oh, Chile, Jordan, near away. Chile, Jordan, I want to cross over to see my Lord. Ready? Back on the other day. I jump on this Yeshua. What's long in the cast? And I argued with you for that day. He said, Grandma, God, you don't know anyone and things like that. They said, yeah, I'm going to I know these things. Been a boy in the bush house for a long time. Brother was afraid of his house. And he didn't say, whoa. You better get him in here. You better get him in here too. That's it. You know what I'm saying? All of that. This is just it. And now, I can hear this show. Morning like this show. She didn't want to for truth. Credit for it. She said, y'all take on the rest of me. But then, so much of that thing we crack the teeth off. He ain't even water. I still need me water. Water to cool. Hey, she'll be water. It ain't quite children so. Water and things like that. We talk to them word people that don't sing. They said, no matter. Just it. After we water, stop it. Sing up that thing with them, and then sing it out. Seemed like something switching me on. And right was it switching on. He started to do what he did me. Get on standing. Mom would love me and say, understanding, greatest thing in the world. And I said, well, why would the rest of people will be the kind of it? Then I talk. He said, sometimes they mean until I get cracked, we ain't take you back on that. I said, oh, okay then. So it must have been right in your water thing that you can get this, you understand? He said, yeah, it didn't matter with. Some children just say, water. I said, well, great God, what you can do is say, Gal, pray. Because that word will help. Sometimes ain't nothing else funny. I want to go get him some. I said, well, how can get you? And now I stand tall, but all the people that did, I think like that. They said, oh, stop. They get right to us and said, well, how want to do this? And look at you just like that. And he said, well, wait, how on you okay? Okay, then take him in. Then on one guy, we ready for their hand on him. And so, during that time and thing, when people will do that, people in the day, they get together and things like that. Let's study each other, talk. People go and say to you, well, how you doing today? Great. Thank you. Before you answer, sometimes they say, how you feel? I know if you feel okay or not. Anyway, but we not tired with one another. But when I go down to the water and things like that, we always see some man like this young lady. And all it seems like they do it Terry. They always got these long sticks that throw up like this. And I be to say, what kind of exercise there every morning? I can't hear they throw up like this. And rather was doing that, I had these long things. One of you would call it pier. See, back when we did, we would build up them wooden thing, long platform and thing like this. All we do going right to the land. Get right joined to the water, you can get down there and have no entire cast together, everything. And a little water, short sick, and then she was sick. But these young men, every time I get there, they're still. And then every now and then, me see one do this show. Come in, nothing there upon there, got a piece of seaweed upon there. They like that. Oh, goodness, I ain't gonna be wrong now. I ain't know what they're trying to catch. So they said, yeah, I'll stop with them people later. And people don't know how to cast and things like that. They want to sit down and things like that, you know. And go on, and then they put all kind of things on this your hook and things like that, and they throw them on there. I said, oh, that way to do. I see I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, but see from over there on the, I couldn't tell what they're gonna do. I was wondering if it's exercise the way to do. And I said, well, yeah, the exercise for two, but it's try to get something for now. And I said, oh, okay then. But what took them so long? Then one day, I was going in, and I see two other wrestle men. But they were coming from the shore, they had bucket and things. I said, oh, well, how want her to do? All right,
He
then.
didn't do too well. We're quick for him too long job.
But look here, they ever had the bucket and thing with her, and I look in the bucket, and one fish finna jump around like this, and I said, well, where you get him from? And they had that stick too, with that hook on there. I said, well, how long want to be there? They said, oh, you know, Sam, it this morning. It is 5 o'clock! I said, that's all I got right there. They said, yes, ma'am. I said, oh, okay, then. I been done cook over mine with the crocus bag, so I ain't want to know that. I've been about 50 fish one day in there, you know what I say. I ain't want the man to know I get 50 in there, make it for one between 2 men. You understand? They've been there all day. Great God, I just been there 4 hours. And they've been there all day. Oh, no, man, I can't go like that. I couldn't have no side, they had mullet and spot and rattle with some shrimp in it. So I had, you know, I had to go on down the water when you back and you know what all that was. And I said, great God, the kind of people in here. I said, well, yeah, they just like exercise. They like to do that shit. Let me do that shit while they do that. I said, grab this. That rattle was, I see these young children come with these big old thing, box looking thing like an addict. I said, what is your? That's it. That crab trap. What are you doing land? You can't catch crab up behind the grass. What are you doing? They said, no ma'am, no ma'am. They had to bring them up the creek. You know, crab trap, you bring them out the creek. We bring them out the creek, but the crab ain't coming up yet. They said, no ma'am, no ma'am. They have to clean them off and things like that. Then they come back to the creek and throw them in. I said, this happy thing. This young crab. God, stop with that. Y'all children ain't know. I can run down yonder to the creek shore with this young. And bring me back some crab again. My back. I ain't gonna work up my back to carry everything now. They said, no ma'am, you don't have a car. If you see somebody doing it, we got a car, and now the rest of one, we got the truck, and they throw them on it, and then they go down there, and what they put in that thing? Oh, you know, they throw all kind of thing in there, they put that back in there. No, they put all kind of turkey neck and thing, and chicken neck and this and that. I said, okay, now you're talking. But then look here, how you mean? I said, you 2 men for carrying it? If we got crab into that thing, have me down now. They said, yeah, you know that why they going up together. But you know, I can pull them in myself. Oh yeah. Hey, I come and say, yeah, I pull that one in myself. Even if it's full up, pull them in myself. I said, well, you know what? They can't, they wanted to pull up, you pull them up and bring them back here. I help you out. Okay then. You know I won't catch it. I ain't gonna pick. I ain't say a thing now. If you ain't get yam on them while they're raw. No ma'am. I said, okay, bring them back here. I help you out. So see, when we get it together, we had all that thing. They ain't take me but a wee while together. And we are going there. We ain't going there all day. And we're gonna try to protect the whole ocean back the house. But some of these other rest of people, they're all that was. They tell me, why call this shut thing down and we don't go derby fishing. Say they're not going out and get everything within it. I said, well, look here, you got everything now. We're going to have a little. Nothing. Then all you could do go down there and exercise. Because ain't nothing coming in toss at that seaweed and things like that. And a few things people in trouble on the creek shore where you're supposed to get it and all kind of cracky things like that. Some of them put me in bottle and bag and things. That thing ain't supposed to be in the creek. Well, you know what plenty did it now? Shark. Grand God, if you're born, they call it shark. Things like that. They call it, where we did it. I ain't care. One of Water Jacksonville, more Scakalaki, a kind of Louis, and tell them now, so Scakalaki, great God, and shark did it. And they said, well, what kind of thing this guy said? Every time I look, think that, I ain't want it. I ain't the kind for you. I want the other rest of the time. They said, you ain't want him to come for that same kind. You put them, put him down, put them too. I said, well, with them, we gonna fight then. So some of them, other brothers was going down there, they said, look, your queen, you go over this side, yo. Don't worry about that. We got them. We gonna take that gray suit off them today. I said, oh yeah, we gonna get them. Go on up to them. They'll do this shit. But see, Lisa, they do this shit. We had a few while, the next thing that thing started to move like a this shit, They said, oh, God, I'm not. God, come on, you. Come on in. And then they rush like that, and that you want to, take your time, like this. They said, oh, he want to fight today. Come on, you. Oh, I got a good one now. Ease on me, ease on me. And next thing you know, sure as you're born, one come up out the water like this. I said, where that? God, that one go down for you, and you ain't want to eat that one. They said, we had him to see it. Yes, sir. I said, get out there. Oh, him fight. Turn on me back. Do this, y'all. Do this, y'all. And get my thing back on me. And stop me. But you can see y'all. Y'all still do this shit. Said, yeah. They said, Greg, God, that thing ain't going, you know. They said, he gonna go on in a minute, though. I gotta take off his clothes. And start to peel off the outside. After a little while, next thing you know, they got enough to live. All the way up there. Them boys don't play with that dog. They said, now see me, and I like that cracky on the rest of people who are coming down there talking about they got them bags and take on their clothes. They're talking about, you can't get this yard. With them this yard, so much your feet. Left them in the water. We don't let them there till they make us eat wheat. No, sir. You can't hit the frying pan. And then they say, people will say, well, you know what? It got too much of there. And too much of there to run around. So, look, y'all, we want the hunter and thing for come. Y'all can come this year there, and y'all can kill the deer. We said, what kind of crazy thing is the deer and they eat nobody? Y'all want we for kill what and they eat nobody, and y'all want we for left what can eat we? People ain't got no understanding. So we people say, yeah, I grew up with them, I know what they're going to do. And so, you know, I didn't meet one of them people one time. And this young man named David. And then when the children go to church, y'all have heard the name David before him. Oh God, I pray for all the children in your day. Never heard the name David before today. Lord, oh, a few. Okay, I pray for all of y'all. Anyway, if the book that been out a little while called a Bible, the man and them named David. So plenty of people name it children David. And I don't mean plenty of David. But all kind of David do different kind of things. Then one day, I would meet this young man, tall man too, with name David. And I said, well, look here, what kind of thing this here? You work with them people who wear that thing on his shirt? And he said, yes, ma'am, I don't wonder why this David got my shirt on today. I said, well, look here, sir. Let me ask you something. What kind of thing y'all need to do over y'all? See, we been taught y'all been like a we when we see your bud the indigo color bud. You know what I said? We see what indigo color thing, we say, great God, that'll settle me right, Jonah. Because you know we ancestors been working that cotton, that rice, and that indigo. So you see indigo, we glad it was either. But then y'all come along, that crooked, we ain't like y'all. And he said, no. Why? I said, because all them places where that butterfly, the people say you can't go in there, you cannot fish. You can't go in there, you can't do this. You can't go in there, you can't get this sweet grass. You can't go in there, you can't do this. What y'all doing? What y'all here for? Bird thing flying, bud land someplace and they get what it need and then it goes somewhere else. We like that. We go in there, we get what we need, we go somewhere else. We not trying to come in there and bomb houses in inside the place. So why y'all look at we say we can't come in? No, ma'am, that you can't come in. You just can't carry everything up. We done carry everything. We done take something. We done carry everything. We ancestors and them in a living in. How you gonna tell me we can't come in there, sir? They said, no, ma'am. The people can't go in there. I said, well, we're going in there for look around and trade it. We can stay in we yard and look at the trees. And y'all there pass out and the brush and thing, the tree and thing doesn't grow all kind of wild and things like that. They rather wants to like one in there and find some everything in the wood. They need to tell me you can't keep the herb, that's federal property. And all kind of bull thing. Wait. We are saying no. Talk. They said, okay. I hear what you say. Okay. I said, so my people ain't know what y'all are doing. But you know this shirt. When they see them blue bud on your shirt like that, shirt, they ain't gonna bother. Because they said them people that ain't know what they do. We ain't know if they know what they do. So he said, okay then, let me see you. Okay, Queen. Maybe we can get together some kind of way, and then we can make sure that my people will work over here. I said, the one with that thing on his shirt. Yeah. Then we can start to understand your people. I said, yeah, that thing that can help my people understand more. If we can get back inside there. No, y'all can't go in there now. We ain't gonna go in there to look at no tree. Well, you know, we got the water place and thing we ain't need to look at your water neither. We live on the water. I don't live on the island. What water I need to look at? If I go into the water, I go in for something. Take me to the river for be baptized. I go into the water for something. I ain't just go and dry on soap. I ain't going like some people go in Key West for lay down and tan. I ain't going down there. Put something on down there to build up my spirit, to build up my body, you know, and then get you out of the family to do the same thing. Even when we're going to go out and learn this, even when they go out hunting, that way for. He ain't gonna kill up that thing just for killing them. And for everybody bother me. God got that take care. Bother the way boy has something for you. You know, we are the way with it. What we find? If we don't stand on another hand, how to live with this thing like a this in a balance. Everything got its season. But we ain't want y'all because we season short. Because we ain't got nothing on that, but we ain't got it. So we got to do something with this shit. I said, okay, we can do that. He said, you ever come there and then we refuge? Okay, why I tell you just now? And I tell you we don't must go in there? Oh, okay, I got you. So, when? He said, well, you know they fish and wild people. I said, wait now. Now they want to give the people a ticket? No, that's a DNR. Okay, I said, okay, long as you ain't the one bring the ticket. No, we don't bring the ticket. I said, but y'all reported for bringing people for bringing the ticket. No. We just do, you know, endangered species. Oh yeah, we work with them. I said, I hope we ain't on the list. No, y'all ain't on the list. You don't do the human species. Oh, okay. Long as that ain't what you want, dog, we good. He said, no, y'all ain't on the list. I said, guess what? We ain't won't be on that list. So if we don't be on that list, you gonna have to let me keep going down to the water and thing. But get what the people need. So that way we can still be here. And the little children with a kind can still be there and things like that. And you can't fly me over the water. You a gated community? Or what? Where y'all at? He said, no man. Everybody wants to be able to come in there. Not just the one who did in the U.S. or Norway. Not the one who just did in the get your nation or Norway. If you come from other rest of part of the world, we want to come see what we have for everybody. We want to protect the show for everybody. I said, well, look like all y'all like to work with this tree and thing, ain't it? He said, no, ma'am. We got rice field and thing in there. Where? For truck? Yes, and the rice field and thing still in there. We use the trunk and thing still. Stop with that! He said, yeah, you have a come see. I said, well, where these things are there? What, the horsey hour, and the black bear hour, and hold on, where? I never all my life, I never yet know Jehovah's hour. Yeah, Jehovah's hour. Okay, no, Eddie store. Yes, sir. He said, well, Jehovah's hour right next to Eddie store. I said, that must be one lead one. He said, yeah, the leader of the Eddie store. There ain't no bridge go there. Yeah, that's why I know that. I said, let me ask her the older people. I go on my ask my mom, and they said, Jehovah's, who child that for? I said, no. Your horse in the island. No, I know that one. I asked somebody else, no ma'am, where that day? I ain't know about that. That ain't there in South Carolina. Yeah, it is. Then, I ain't supposed to crack the teeth of black bear all over because they said, well, you going for treasure? I'll carry you in my boat. No. Where that one there? I said, I go find out. I said, these children got all kind of island names for top of them, and we right here for some of them. They said, oh no. I said, I going for see. I said, then they said, well, we can carry you stand down. I said, see, stand down, I know about because the people there over y'all are not going to stand down, so I know that one. But where these other rest take me in? I said, don't worry. We can carry you over there. Where you won't go. So I said, okay, David. I said, look here now, you think I have all kind of cracky people that carry this board, because you know, you got to look at me. We done had this experience before, right, with your people on the... So, I just beat you this now. I ain't never just board riding thing. And we just, you know, we can work together. Let me be like the teller said, keep it real. Okay, so I gotta watch you never this board ride. How far off these players stuff? What kind of boat this year? How long it is? How many people crying on you? All of this, you know, I haven't asked these things. See, y'all on the board with the wrong man and been cheating up in the car. I ain't gonna do that. I will ask a question. Whether you know watch catfish. I ain't want to be the catfish. I can nap for the catfish, but I ain't want to be the catfish. So let me ask a question. Then I just ain't asking for an ID number with the federal government. Okay. They said, no. Okay, let's start off like this. Don't go on a boat trip. That sounds good. How would you come into Atlanta? That wasn't they going on a boat trip. You seen it. Where you been? Come to Atlanta. Come get to Atlanta, man. Come on. Atlantis. Let me try to find that. Atlanta. They said, well, look here, that would be good. I said, oh, okay. I said, oh, you the regional director. So you charge of what? All of this here over here? He said, yeah, that I will get coach, coach to me. I said, well, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, well, I grew up down there. What? Where? Then we started to talk about how we grew up, you know. And I said, oh, okay, that one ain't too far off. So you understand why I got it from me? He said, yes, ma'am, I do. So I said, okay, then. He said, well, maybe you can come at night. I said, okay, then, work something out. So I leave out later, he sent an email. You know, because they get you to do that email. I know some people don't think so. We I sent an email. And it said, look, y'all, we'd like you for coming for this time where people, you know, gonna pay attention. Black History Month. I said, oh yeah, I am black all year, but I come for February. So he said, yeah, come then. And then maybe you can help everybody else understand where you're gonna crack your teeth with me. I said, that'll work. So sure enough, we come from the lower country, the lower sea level, had to come on. I remember that commercial. I coming up on the rough side of the mountain. Y'all act like y'all remember that commercial that had that song on them, even if y'all remember the old song. Look, she remember. Okay. So we get to Atlanta. And then the gal picked me up in the car. They said, all right, we got you, Queen. Come on, y'all. Take you by the office. I said, yeah, well, you do strip search and all that. You need identification, go in the federal building and all that. This will be a trick right now, too. I don't know what y'all. Said, no. 1875. Pull up in front of 1875. I said, okay, then. This looks like a halfway decent building here. Can't too bad, and things like that. The guy was going to be in one big old special space and said, all the office been a company. Had to leave room like a bitch. People been to do just like Gully Beach and they too. Come keep your head in the room for us and see who in there. Okay, I going back. I ain't going in there yet. And after the room get crowded, the same one to kind of push it way in. Let me get in. But we were. That thing I see, they come back with chair. Push the chair. Roll it down. They don't miss them now. But what's them in the car? They never yell with this shit. Since over this thing, we don't get you. We have to do that. We're going to sit right in there, do like you're going to do like all the device and things like that. Type of thing. But then when they yell, they say everybody else going. They say, oh, we got to go down there. You know what, why? That is the same way we get catch before. You know, some people go on some place they shouldn't have gone. They ain't been none of their business. But they want to see because everybody else been there. Sometimes you go what everybody else to do. But I have to have your mind for yourself and know what that's for her to do. So every time you're to do work, then you can't get anybody. But you do all right. And then you live by the example, let them see what you can do, and then they can learn better. And then like we say, want to know better, want to to do better. Some people you have to put a few licking on for you. Have to exercise like this, exercise like this. But still, you keep doing what you know good for doing. Should I come in and think like that? And I could live, come on, little children and think like that, grab the feet like this, look at me like, oh. Many of them were very relieved when I started speaking this way because then they could understand that. And they were shocked and amazed, especially the ones who had peeped in early, didn't understand and came back when they could and then sat down. Some had to stand on the wall. Some still standing on the wall. When you try to convince them that the environment's important, the forest is important, the waterways and what we do in them are important, that what we do on the land around us is important, they're still standing on the wall. You done told them that for the past 20, 30, 40 years, they stand on, I think you're right. You think I'm right? Make a move. Make a move. What you waiting on? Well, see, what had happened was, the people over there ain't moved yet, so when they move, I'ma move. Nah, when I move, you move just like that. Yeah. All right? And if I've been moving for 20, 30 years, telling you that what you are doing in your life every day is going to change the way things balance out or don't. I need you to move and say, I'm going to change the way I'm living so that for the next generation to come, they're not standing on the wall. They're out here doing some of the work that we've been doing to protect the environment, to protect the land, so that they know how to go out and mitigate some of the damage that some of us did when we were too ignorant to understand that what we did was going to affect the ecological balance of everything else. Even some federal decisions that were made and passed down to say, this is what you should do. And then somebody finds out later, oops, miscalculation. I never forget the imbalance someone told me happened on Cumberland Island because they thought that someone had written in a document somewhere that they had seen bobcats there. So they said, wow, there were bobcats. So this is a wilderness environment. There are no bobcats here. Now there are wild turkeys and wild hogs. We need to reintroduce the bobcat. And after the bobcats multiplied and started murdering all the wild turkeys, a historian came along and said, you know that's not valid, right? That document that person wrote, that was fiction. That wasn't actually something that happened on Cumberland Island. Oops. So now this generation, if you go to Cumberland Island, would believe the bobcat is indigenous to Cumberland Island, but it had been introduced by who? The feds. So a lot of times on Sea Islands, when the feds come of any kind, you got that thing on your shirt. Folks ain't listening to you. Because either you about to introduce something we don't want to see, like when I got the endangered species list from my folks at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and it said that rattlesnakes was endangered, all the Gullah Geechees said, good, praise the Lord, because I don't know where they got that list from when I just killed a rattlesnake in my yard yesterday. But tell them that if they think they're endangered and they want them in Atlanta, they can come get them from here. And I said, I'm trying to tell y'all, I ain't make up this list. The government people make up this list, and you stay there and believe them, Queen. You stay there and believe them. But we know better. Why? Because we live on the land. So we're not waiting until someone in the regional office or someone in the D.C. headquarters tells us this is what's missing, or this is what you need to introduce. We can tell you when the stocks of certain fish are starting to be depleted. Why? Because we only been there since the 1600s and kind of noticed a difference. And we kind of noticed a difference in people going out casting versus them people going out casting. We also noticed a difference with the amount of trawlers that started coming off our Atlantic coast. And then all of a sudden, when folks started trolling, just like people trolling you on the internet now, they wasn't doing good things. Because the more they came, the less we had to eat. The more they came, the more them folks showed up with their other shirts on, they gave you the ticket. And we like, how you gonna give me a ticket for food? This food is to go back to my family. Yeah, but against the law for you to have that much of it. It's against the law for me to have this much, a bucket full of food for 25 people to eat? Yeah. Okay, wait. Why? Because you caught it. You caught that, right? Yeah, I caught it. Well, you ain't allowed that. You got limits. Okay, but if I go to Golden Corral, I don't have no limit. If I go to the seafood market, I don't have no limit. But you give me a limit in the bucket, that don't make sense. So then when people say, well, all of these different agencies, whether the state or federal, we work together, we're trying to get a system here where we can start to understand how we all can know the literal lay of the land and how to protect it. I said, well, guess who you missing out your alphabet soup? G-U-L-L-A-H. G-E-E-C-H-E-E. If one ain't got we, you ain't got nothing wrong, y'all, because we ain't gonna listen to y'all. So yeah, you can tell us don't catch the shark if they this big, but if that shark get on that hook and he come up out that water, he gonna get filleted. And he going either in the pan or he going back with the hook to catch one bigger. Because our people don't want something left in the water that we gotta then tell our children who are already afraid of the water because of that boat journey that our ancestors took here, that you shouldn't go to the water because something's in the water that could eat you. We don't want to tell them that. But we can tell them there's stuff in the water you can eat. And let us show you how to go get it. So that's where we figured out we did have something in common with these people that wear the little things on the shirt, even that blue bird. Because I heard they have a national fishing week. Even though I ain't seen none of them fishing until last year. I said, oh, they have a national fishing week? We have to go and get your fishing association. Maybe we can all go fishing together. And as soon as I said that, I stopped getting emails. Federal government people didn't email me no more. I said, why are they doing this, sister? What's up? What happened? But they want to go out there, they want to be there all day doing this. And I'm saying, well, can I just bring this? Because I can catch more. Y'all want the culture, can I just do this right here? And even if y'all just want it for demo, my catch and release is more humane. Because if I catch it here and I shake them back loose in the water, they ain't got holes all up in their mouth. And they're not bleeding. So others ain't trailing behind them in the water with the little So there's a lot of things that we know, that we live, that we use, that came from just traditional knowledge, as many others in academia are calling it, at environmental conferences, that we want to be able to share on these journeys into the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services Circle and the U.S. National Wildlife Refuge System, to actually say why a refuge shouldn't be a place now that my people are afraid to go in or are looking at and wondering what is in there, doing like y'all did me last time. And then like that from outside, wondering is it okay, is it safe to go in there, or not. Instead, it should be just what the name said, a refuge. It should be a place of shelter. It should be a place of safety. It should be a place that we run to, not run away from. And so, 3 years ago, when I made that journey up the rough side of the mountain to Atlanta, things only began then. And so it continued since then. And so David Viker and I teased him about that last time. I was like, yeah, not with Vikings and stuff now. They're going to explore and all that. Eventually they get in the boat. We've gotten in multiple boats together. And we've gone along the creeks and the waterways and the estuaries. He was upset though, because I like to go in the summertime. And he like, can we do this when it's a little cooler? Love you, but it's a little too much for me? I said, that's right, that's a cultural thing, sorry for that. He want to go in the winter when my mama like, I know better than you going out in no water. It's too cold to be out there, don't play with it. Okay, and so we had to kind of get a compromise, try to go in the spring this year, we hope. And so I said, well, yes. He said, you know what? It's been wonderful going out in the water. But we couldn't bring everybody because the boats wasn't that big. See, I tried to hook y'all up. When I asked how big is the boat, you know how many seats, how long, how many safety jackets. I thought he was going to bring a busload of y'all from Atlanta. You know, we bring the cooler. My brother's got me right there. We bring the cooler there. We could, you know, we're going out there. My sister's hooked up that little food, you know what I'm saying? The little chicken salad, little fried chicken. You know, I got my veggie sandwich on the side. You know, we could. I thought we all coming together. He said, no, ma'am. It's me and you. And whoever from the region, I said, oh, okay, I got you. This is a private thing. It's all the top dog. You know, Bob, I got you. So he said, well, you know, it's time for you to come back. I said, oh, good, I get to see the rest of them again. And then I noticed now, I hope I ain't scared because I noticed y'all let me wait a little. The last time a few people had them on, y'all start putting jackets in. I still love y'all. I'm still looking forward to my shirt too. Don't worry. And what I do, I'm gonna add a Gullah Geechee thing on mine along with yours. But we started to take a journey that I just wanted to show y'all just a little bit of, and hope that many of you will get the chance to come on some of these journeys. Not only through watching me on Gullah Geechee TV, but also coming along to our coast and then starting to see things through our eyes the same way that David started to. And that journey that started here in Atlanta in 1875 with some folks who we only knew really each other's names and a little bit about background, turned into family the minute I walked into 1875 and y'all filled up that room after y'all stopped being scared and all of that. And so it was good because it felt like that family reunion. You know, you got cousins from all over the place. You just ain't know they live right there on the coast where you lived and that they knew about it down on dirt roads that I travel now. So many of these different dirt roads lead into places like our Ace Basin, National Wildlife Refuge, where I got to go out with David, and Harris Neck National Wildlife Refuge, where Ray and others took me out from there. And that we also had a chance to then travel by Edisto, going to Jehosi, travel down other creeks, end up at Black Bear Island. And so we have made tracks in the water. We have been to these places that my ancestors hewed out, where my ancestors casted their nets, where they even sowed their nets. And along the way, I saw one thing, and then David would point out what he would see. And we had the blessings of dolphins and others showing up. And then my chariots would show up at some place. That would then pull us the rest of the journey over these places where you all protect, where you have to constantly restore things that are of historical and cultural significance to me, where my ancestors were, where I paid homage, where I poured libation at a rice deli. Because for you, it's something that's part of your system to keep things flowing correctly. Well, it's part of our system to keep our culture connected for others to know about. So that there are teams of us standing together now on the shore, that we can begin to educate more people, that they don't have to be afraid to come into these places, even if they come by boat or they come by land, that even if the little bad shows up, it's all right. Come and touch the sand. And so that sand from Jehosi Island was put in the bottle where I poured libation. And David gave me that bottle that now sits in the Gullah Geechee Alkebulan archive. And it seems as if it is journeying now with these people that have that blue indigo bird always flying with that golden sky, the same way that our tree of the Gullah Geechee Nation sits in the midst also of a golden sky. And so there's a journey that all of us began before we were ever born. That circle was laid out for all of us to connect in before we ever knew. But now, because of what I know, I can do better. And I pray that what you know now will help you do your jobs even better. That even when February ends, that this theme for this year, hallowed ground, sacred places of African American memory or even Gullah Geechee memory are the places you work in, that you realize that most of the ones that are part of your refuge system that sit on the southeastern coast were lands of cotton, rice, indigo, cast nets, bato boards, and so people were cracking teeth like this year, even with 100 chiller nails stand tall. All right? And so that you would be able to take all of that back in the boat with you, even if it's back to 1875 and into the office, but then be able to unload it and feed the family that's here now and the ones for generations to come. So it is a blessing, and I thank Sherry, the birthday girl, for helping out. And see so many of the faces that I do remember y'all laughing. Don't be laughing at my family that's up in the pictures. I heard y'all laughing and stuff like that. Pictures of it. Of all of us who took pictures together before. And I know there are many, many, many more pictures to take because I haven't made all the trips yet to every site. And it's wonderful to have Christopher Hernandez because our partnership now, the Coastal Program, where we are in South Carolina, came out of me coming up the road side of the mountain and going back down the other way to the low country. And so we are now working together on my program, Gullah Geechee See and Me. And we would have started some years ago, but then y'all got sequestered. Okay, y'all just want to do right. Y'all in the refuge, sequestered to yourself, locking up all the money in there. You don't want to let the money out. You don't want to let the food out. You don't want to let the people in. Lord have mercy. You know, but we love the refuges because they are that wilderness that was our bush arbors, our brush arbors, the places where we said, for catch sense. That's what we did, seeking. And so it's wonderful when people continue to seek knowledge and seek understanding. As my favorite proverb in all proverbs I've heard says, wisdom is the principal thing. So get wisdom, but in all thy get understanding. So I pray that our continued work together helps people on my side understand your work better, and folks on your side understand our culture and community better, so that we can all gather inside the refuge together. And shout out, while they have leave it for Nampa. All right? And so we're going to open up the circle for discussion now. Y'all exercise your voices a little bit? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Can you please tell us how large the Gullah Geechee culture is, and is there a challenge getting the younger generations to remain with the customs
Traditions,
and so
yeah.
forth?
I love the way Sharon phrased that. She said, tell me how large the Gullah Geechee culture is. She didn't say the population, she said the culture. The culture is global. Because as I tell people, I don't care where you move to, whoever you are, you take yourself with you, whether you realize it or not. Some of y'all remember you can't hide from yourself, because anywhere you go, there you are. Y'all remember that? Or y'all complaining about it. Like y'all wasn't out there. You can't hide. You can't hide. Y'all know y'all. Okay, so, but definitely our culture is global. It has international links, not only to the African diaspora, but the Gullah Geechee diaspora. So we have Gullah Geechee communities that are in the Bahamas, that are in Texas, that are in Mexico, that are in Oklahoma, as well as on the coastline. And so when you look at the expanse of the knowledge and the population of people, and then them migrating, and then bridges being built to the coastline, which causes others to migrate in on us, your second part of that question about the youth is a critical one that I get all the time. Because now, how much is going to have the greater influence? Which has the greater influence? The outside mainstream perspective or the tradition you grew up with? And I think that with any person, when they're growing up, you don't realize what you're learning. Whatever you're living, you just figure this is just it, this is just me, this is how my family acts, this is how my community acts. And sometimes you think the whole world is like this until you get out here and you doing this and somebody else doing this, right? And you say, oh no, that ain't what y'all do. This is what we do. And so with the younger people, it's like any other group. At first, they don't even realize they have a unique culture. Like we were talking about this last night with my family. I said we had cousins who admitted that they were born and raised in Beaufort County, South Carolina. But as soon they got first they smoking when they was 18, ended up in Atlanta, went to colleges, became teachers. Were in the Atlanta school system at that point probably 30 years. Said to my sister and I, look here, y'all going downtown? We said, no. But the Gullah Festival was going on and we were yelling at people speak Gullah because we never yelled that before. We're sitting there going, you actually talking to me in Gullah saying you never heard Gullah before? But they didn't know they were even speaking Gullah, and these were teachers. They had always been taught Gullah was something else, and it was ignorant, and it was backwards. So of course, they're educated people now. They haven't even lived on the island in 30 years, so there's no way that they do the Gullah stuff. So they want to go see this man do it. You see? So there's that disconnect. Just because when you live something, you don't study it. But what has been the blessing has been the internet. I'm a computer scientist. So when I first started telling people how to do things digitally, it was going on people's heads. You know, I was doing it with computers the size of this room, right? And so then people, what you talking about? Now everybody like, oh yeah, you know, they act like they can't release their phone for 2 minutes, all right? And so here it is. The younger people are seeing Gullah Geechee TV. They're listening to Gullah Geechee Rhythm Radio. They're seeing clips from documentaries. They're seeing magazine articles, like when I was in Vibe magazine, Janet Jackson was on the cover, I was on the inside of the magazine. They lost their minds. Because they're like, hold up, that's the lady. That's the Queen lady. Where? Hold on. Where? That lady talking like my grandma. Hold on. Where am I? You see this? She's like, I've been knowing that gal. I know where it's going. I know her. Look. When I tell you, you talk like her. You get quiet. And I'm asking you, and see right here. It's a Gullah. Strong Islanders. That's who we are. That's me right there. Okay? So now, the younger people are proud. They are so happy that they can go places and speak to each other. And somebody standing right there doesn't know what they're saying. Okay, but now I got to get them past the language part. We got to get them back in the field. And we got to get them back in the boats. See, they want to do this too. You can't cast on that. You can't even do this. And I know some of y'all gonna say there's an app for fishing. Yeah. But you ain't gonna eat, we'll come up with the app, that's the problem. And so we need them to put the phone down. Not in the water, but the phone down. And then let us show you this. So that's why the Gullah Geechee See and Me program is now we have multi-generations of people working together so that younger people will know how not to starve when there's food right there all around. Because it can happen. It can happen. So great question. Yes, ma'am.
All of the different Gullah Geechee communities that there are across the world, is it the language that's the common thread?
That tends to be the link. Because that, other than where we look, tends to be the immediate access point because we know other people want to use the talk. And what is interesting about it, though, is we get told off by people from the Caribbean. Because I don't care what country of the Caribbean you name right now, they thought we were there. And so then when we say, no. What you mean? You're from Bacayard, right? No, sir. Oh, what you mean? Where you from? St. John Island, where's that one? I say, oh, well, you know, that's the Sea Islands. We are these islands. And then all for the United States. The United States don't have no islands and things. You see my house? People like you're from Bacayard, you know, I'm saying things like that shit. No, man. Calm down. Then you have to explain to them, y'all ain't never on the rest of the islands or be in the world and things like that. When I see this on the map, we know that. We're glad we're not there on the map. We don't want even be on Google Map or nothing like that. We don't want to be on Google Earth or nothing. We want them to be with Lord. They say, no, gal, now I know for truth. We will like them leave you alone in Jamaica, but then I'll leave you alone. Okay. And so we get this thing because then they think we're ashamed to say we're from whatever island in the Caribbean because they don't know there's islands here. So it's been really interesting, that dynamic, wherein all of our communities all over the world, like I said, people that are living the culture sometimes don't actually never realize there was even a name for what they live. Now they're starting to. and they're realizing there's a blessing to hold on to it. And so when I went to Texas last year, and was a special guest for the Seminoles, but the Black Seminoles and Afro Seminoles are Gullah Geechees actually. The thing that made everybody just, and I felt that, ignore the next speaker on the program because they ran over to me, was because I was speaking a language that they remember when they grew up, that many of them can't speak now. But their mamas, their daddies, their aunties, their great-grandparents, all of them used to speak it. But they said, well, Queen, you know what? They never spoke it outside. I said, you mean literally? They said, yeah, they wouldn't speak outside, like in the yard or nothing. They would always go inside the house, close the door, and they would speak. So as kids, we'd be in another room, and we'd be like listening, and we could hear them talking, and like that. But they would not speak outside. So they definitely would never do that celebration outside. But now, because they know I can speak Gullah fluently, they always want me at the celebration because it's now reigniting their memories. And some of them now are remembering words that they learned from their grandparents and their parents that are deceased now. And so that now they're trying to regenerate it with their generation so the young people will speak it and they'll keep that way. So they'll always know their people.
All right, good to see you again. Can you give a brief recap about the origins of the Gullah Geechee in this country?
Definitely. The Gullah, a lot of people don't realize the word Gullah as it's spelled now, G-U-L-L-A-H, actually means people blessed by God. But it derived out of the ethnic groups, both Angola, because the Angolans were the first Africans that were kidnapped and brought directly over to the Sea Islands from the motherland, and those were our first ancestors that were here. They were brought because of blacksmithing, largely, okay? Because you got trees everywhere, and you want rice grown, you have to do a little bit of work, right? To alter that landscape. So they started corrupting the term Angola and said Gullah. So you will find that there are brochures or flyers, as we would say today, that would be scrolled out that would say we have the sale of 1,000 Gullah today, because they also brought a high price on the enslavement market, okay? Then what they found, though, in every major uprising in the country, including the Cato's uprising, the Stonewall Rebellion, which happened where now it's Hollywood Ravenel, South Carolina, but he was on John's Island where he had been enslaved. Because of that, they said we put a ban on the importation of the Angolans. We don't want them. We don't want the Gullah. But they didn't know they would now go to the Windward Coast, Rice Coast, and get a group of people called Gullah, G-O-L-A, as well as a group of people called Gidzi, G-I-D-Z-I. So you have the Gullah and Gidzi. And I just recently started putting on YouTube a series called We Be Gullah Geechee. And so every week, a new short video that's 1 to 3 minutes long comes up to educate people about these things. So I just did one about the same thing you just asked, the origin of Gullah Geechee, where those terms came from, as well as just who we are in the Gullah Geechee Nation. So if you go there, and all of y'all have, let me see this one, this flyer here with the profile. Y'all will see our link to our website for the festivals right in the middle, but when you go to gullahgeechee.info, you can actually click back to the main page, which is gullahgeechenation.com, and you can pick up all that. And so I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you asked another question this time, too, 3 years later. All right, anybody else? Yes, sir. He exercising that arm, too.
I was wondering, given the connection you have with the coastal with the lowlands and how you live, are the Gullah Geechee, is there a much awareness of, concern about sea level rise and climate change?
It's interesting. We have an awareness, and we've had that awareness for a while. We just didn't have a term for it. And when we tried to point it out to others, especially like in local and county governments, because we thought they were the ones that we need to know, like y'all need to pay attention. Oh, please, these emotional natives, they're coming up with this stuff. We don't know what to talk about. It wasn't in their purview. Then, the ones who started to pay a little more attention, it would be something like, well, I don't think our department handles that because which part of the coastline is that on? Oh, that's a different departments and compartments. Sometimes you mentioned it, and by the time they figure out who's supposed to deal with it, it's way higher than it needs to be. It's a bigger problem than it needs to be. And so it's interesting now because like a lot of other things that I've done, when they realize people at a higher level of government than them are paying attention to it, they suddenly want to pay quick attention to it now. They want to be your best friend. Like, oh, what was that you worked on? We saw you in D.C. You're like, why was you there with the president, Queen? We saw you at the conservation conference. Come on, talk to us. What's going on? How can we help? How can we help? You could have helped me 30 years ago. Get away. Half the island's gone now because of you. And so we have our folks who've been saying, wait a minute, where we used to go to the beach, we have to walk all the way over there, and now it's to walk right here, and the water's right here. Something's wrong. That's the kind of way we would say it. Or look at the tides. They're meeting with the roads we're driving on. That never used to happen. Even with a spring tide, it came here, not here. Now with the king tide, now I don't know which one of y'all agencies renamed spring and king, but king tide now are over the road, okay? And so now there's all these conversations people are having with the Gullah Geechees about sea level rise and adaptation, sea level rise and resilience. How have y'all stayed here? Because this had to have happened before the changes in water, up or down. What did you do? How do you think we should do this? How should we plan for 20, 50, 100 years out? So we're having some dialogues. I just think they take too long. The bureaucracy is too long in the process. And all this, amen, right? Yes. Yeah, you agree, right? So that's the problem. But we are aware. We just don't necessarily say the term sea level rise because to us, it's kind of like, isn't that oxymoron? The sea level always rises, then it goes down again. That's what you call tide, right? High tide, low tide. So when you say sea level rise, people look at me like, yeah, they rise, big rises. What does that mean? You see, I said, hey, me develop this stuff. They said, they're people you be with again. See? So, yeah, that's the issue too. It's a language. Yes, how do you convey the messages? Yes, ma'am.
A couple of years ago, we went to my older sister's daughter lives in South Carolina.
Which part? Can't say.
But it's close to.
It's not
close to Charleston.
Close to Charleston?
Yes.
It Lansing? It wasn't in Lansing? You saying low?
That's
Lansing?
it. That's it.
That's it.
And her husband talks like he was like, what? You know,
look at when they didn't understand what was.
And then he talked.
He did
And we would laugh at him, you know, because he was talking funny. No, he was just being funny, but we couldn't understand
him either.
what he was talking about.
Right.
So everybody was like, where is he from? Where is he from?
Okay, y'all sitting in the man house.
Well, he never really said, and
Right.
we were at a loss. And
Right.
then when, after hearing you and listening to what you're having to say, now I understand.
Yeah.
And because we were like, well, is he from here?
Yeah.
Or is he from, we thought he was from
The Caribbean, or Louisiana.
Somewhere, we
Yeah.
didn't know.
Right.
And she never told us, so
Right.
now this is history for me.
Yep, so now you can go back and have an understanding with your family.
Yes.
Yes, and
Yes.
stop laughing at mama. In his house. Or he laughed at you and feeds you the wrong thing.
That's why we was laughing.
Yeah, but I'm glad you were honest about that. Most people have never said that over. Boy, I can't tell them.
We didn't know.
Yeah, you didn't know, but that's the difference. You know now, so you can do
Now I
better.
know.
You can stop all that laughing. Come right here, then come right there. So, yeah,
Okay, this is a quick question.
sure. Who you trying to say? Hers was Oh, go ahead. She'll get you later. She will.
After this partnership or the relationship
Yes.
between you and David,
Yes.
are the gates open? Are y'all getting this week right?
Yes, actually, we've had, and I think Chris has been maybe in the Francis Marion Park, and I think a couple others, where they've had some gatherings, like of Sweetgrass. I don't know that it's a consistent, like, memorandum of agreement all through the year,
I think that there were just certain times of years, like certain days or certain weeks, that then the Sweetgrass Basket Maker did go in and did some harvesting. And so we're trying to really expand that, because that happened, I know, in South Carolina, but I had not heard of the same kind of thing happening in Georgia or any of the other ones yet. And then they may not have as much as we do in South Carolina too, for a lot of other reasons. But yeah, that has helped to open that gate. Why, you make some baskets? Your old girlfriend used to make some baskets? That's what I thought, see? Oh, you told me, see that? So you know the good ones. There you go. Yes, ma'am.
When last time I was in the Low Country, I was talking to a Sweetgrass Basket maker. And she was saying that they are also having a lot of trouble getting longleaf.
Pine needles,
needles.
absolutely.
And so we weren't quite sure where to go
To try to open that door of discussion.
Right.
Again, there was, Chris, in the area, there's been some projects like that with U.S. Forestry Service.
That's actually been opened up in certain areas. I actually helped connect. There are a few landowners who are letting
Them do that as
who are
well.
letting just
Gather.
the basket weavers go into the properties.
Yeah,
Just called my field folks. Just called my field folks.
Yeah, because then, in fact, that's one of the things I have to now stop, because one of our council elders members is a Sweetgrass Basket Maker. And I made the mistake of having her on a documentary and news report with me, where they wanted to learn all these different aspects of our traditions. I said, well, the person who'll do the Sweetgrass part, this will be her. And I said, well, you gotta come from Mount Pleasant now. You gotta come to me to St. Helena. Everybody sending no crew just to choo-choo at Mount Pleasant. You can come in. She said, well, no problem, but I mean, I don't need to be able to cut the gold rush and cut. I can bring some grass out of spread there, show them, we just picked that part. But I need to be able to get the palmetto frond, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you can come on my property and probably find it. That chick found the palmetto. She found the longleaf pine needle. She told me, oh, I'm gonna have to come back. I said, whoa, you were just supposed to cut 1 or 2 brands for the TV. Well, see, these will grow better for you, because I done cut all this out, and I'm them in the back of my truck. And I had a rig, but I got a little bit of pine needle, but y'all rig that up, I'll come back and get it. I said, oh no, you just don't remember where my address at. So certain private landowners, they will have their yards cleaned and their trees pruned and everything very well. The Sweetgrass folks see something they can use to make something with, trust me. Yes, ma'am, how you doing? You laughing at yourself? Change your hair, but we know shit.
In response to Margaret's comment about the brother that spoke the Gullah
Language, yeah.
there are a lot of people that have a Gullah background but do not know that, or may have known at one time, but within our own culture, as I'm told, don't go outside. You mentioned that, they don't want to talk inside.
Right.
They've been told, if you want to migrate or
That's
go to other
right.
areas, don't talk like
Don't
that.
speak like
Talk
that.
American, talk
Right.
proper English.
Yeah,
So
proper
this is happening within our own culture
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
suppress that knowledge.
Absolutely.
So I would advise him to embrace what he knows.
Yes.
To, believe and taught within our own culture to
Yes.
suppress.
Yes,
Yeah.
and a homework piece, and you can go to Netflix, you can go on YouTube, watch the film A Soldier Story. The central part of that, and I saw it when it was a soldier's play off Broadway. So many years later, when it became A Soldier Story, that was it. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies, although it's one of the most painful movies for me to watch. Because the central part of the story is what she's talking about, where there is a black man that hates the other black man because he is Geechee.
Right.
All right? And one of the documentaries, the first one that ever came out with the name Gullah Geechee Nation, and it was A Will to Survive, the story of the Gullah Geechee Nation. And I was telling my family last night how it was a star-studded, literal star-studded event in Los Angeles when we did the premiere. All of these stars were there to see the premiere, and they cheered and screamed their heads off when they announced that I was coming into the theater. They just lost their minds. And so at the end, none of the men would move to let any of the other men take a picture with me by himself. So all they kept doing was getting more and more of them in the picture. So the picture just keeps growing with all these celebrities. One of the people was the person who was in the movie.
And they were talking negatively about Geechee's in all these lines in the movie. And he said, Queen, oh my God, it took all these years for me to even know what Geechee means. I said, are you kidding? He said, I didn't even know. Now, as successful as that film was, as long as it's been out, he just played a role. And had no idea what he was saying. Had no idea that these are living people, that all of us remember vividly what happened to the Geechee character and what they kept saying about Geechees through the film and how it hurt us every time we hear it. So, yeah, this has been an ongoing problem amongst the black community, especially, God forbid, you in the city, and now somebody run up on you. Hey, girl, I didn't know you from who? Right. Oh, no, wow. We can't hear. No, we're in Atlanta, don't do this. You know, all of this stuff. But then when you come to the coast, you will come, yeah, girl, you got this fish got to live. Don't bring back here. We don't have any food for you. Now, that's how folks start doing it. Like when I saw you up the road there, up the rough side of the mountain, you was pretty rough, so don't come in with that, you know. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Critical thing. Hands, yes. All my fishermen, y'all scared in the back, huh? Anything else? Let me ask you a question. What are you intending to do? Do you have anything planned in any of your refuges for National Fishing Week and for National Wildlife Refuge Week? No? Okay, so we will be changing. David and I will be talking, and Chris and I are talking about doing some things that maybe y'all can get a bus or something to come over. Got you right in the cooler, right, cuz? All right. We gonna really hook y'all up now. I know you're talking to them. We got y'all. We got y'all covered. And what now? We just got Carnival we can do on that. But as long as we got the regional to write this shit, we no problem. Notice that he left me here and went to D.C., so he know I can run the house. It ain't no problem. All right? He trusts me. So, because David's not here, I got all y'all as witnesses. I'm giving this to Sherry. This is a gift to David for our years, and I love the way the brother phrased that question earlier, but just for those who watching the videotape, when he said this relationship that you and David have had for all these years, you know, it ain't what y'all think. My viewers of Gullah Geechee TV, it ain't that kind of relationship. You know, we do joke, and I do say to him, yeah, this is my summer boyfriend right here. I say it like every summer. Yeah, so, and then I have one for all of y'all for the office for U.S. National Wildlife Refuge. Oh, yeah. You want to read it to them?
Yes, please. It says, peace and blessings, David. May your wildlife's journey forever be enlightening. May our spirits continue to journey in unity, Queen Gwen.
And y'all really should have saw our email exchange yesterday. Because it must have been as soon as they told him to come to D.C., he just wrote, Queen, I now have to go to D.C. for the rest of the week. I will not see you. I'm sorry, David. I looked, I said, oh no. All I could write back, no, in all caps. Exclamation points. Right? And so, you know, we were really looking forward to being back here together. But we always have a wonderful time. As you know, the smiles were not fake in the pictures. We really enjoyed the journey, and we're always figuring out which one do we go to next. And so we've done some work to start to talk to the people that are at the sites about when there is funding. I know y'all have the budget issues all the time. How to change some of the kiosks, you know. And as beautiful as your signs are that welcome people, we shouldn't just have birds and grass in the signs. Maybe we should have the people someplace. And definitely to add some kiosks at the welcoming centers and the openings where people just pull their cars in sometime and don't go all the way through, like at the Savannah Wildlife Refuge. You could pull off, you know, and you take it to scenic route without going all the way through the thing. There used to be rice fields and whatnot. So if you don't go all the way through, at least stop and learn. And we want them to learn Gullah Geechee people actually live and work on these lands here that are now part of this. And so that's been part of the missing story. When we went down to Darren Harris' neck, they do have some kiosks, but there were some things that were left to be desired. So I pointed out, like using the word slave or things like that, there should be enslaved Africans. There should be some editing done to change some of that. And even in places where you just say something like that, at what point do you link and make people understand what he asked? When do you call it Gullah Geechee culture? And where's the origin of the Gullah Geechee culture come in? You can't have this panel here calling people slaves and then this panel over here they Gullah Geechee. Because I don't make this connection. Like, are those the same people or not? You know, so there's some things that we've been talking about, and talking through, even some of the videos that are at some of the sites, that those are some things that hopefully funding will come through and we can maybe re-edit and add some things even in the Gullah language and some of them. And add some more of the traditions and the images of people that we know their families stem from those different points. And so that'll be something that, trust me, when we think we see ourselves, we'll be more willing to go in there. The same way I said y'all was like, who that is? I don't know. And now you recognize all my other co-workers in there, it's all right. Right? You know people do that. So if Gullah Geechee family reunion groups know that if you go in there, there's some pictures of your own people in there, or there's a video, and they speak in Gullah on there, they'll be just like my cousin talking about, now we go for yet that thing, yeah, well, what to do with that? Right? So that they can go and feel comfortable and accept, like you said, embrace who we all are, and embrace the fact that if you're going to be a United States, any part of the alphabet soup, you need to reflect everybody in the United States, especially those who pour the foundation of what the United States is, and that's definitely the African people. And so I appreciate y'all. I definitely am happy we're here, and I was happy for you that you could get out the building and come over. I said, I guess they'll love me because they get to come out. And so definitely I have books and CDs and things here that you can come up and at the sale, and please come out to the festival. If any of you want to leave your cards, if you're not already in my email database, or you want to fill in that white form and bring it up to me and leave it, you can as well, and you can just drop it right in here. And then I want all of you to meet the person who was cracking up laughing whenever I said my mama said, because why, that is my mama, right there. Because my sister tried to get her to go, she said, oh no, I'm going to the presentation. And so definitely she's here with me today, as well as Kumar, who most of you who were here 3 years ago, you met Kumar then, and then my brother was also with us last time. And so I said, well, this time we don't have to worry about the building where we got to use the thing and get locked in.
We lock ourselves out too.
You do? Yes. So it's happened to all the other people.
You're already in your computer, so sometimes you're like, oh my God.
Oh, and they get up and go. Oh, wow. Because I thought y'all just keep them on your necks all day. So I was like, how'd you do that? Okay, I get it. So what do? Just stand in the hall and make an excuse like and say, I'm locked out. I locked out. Couldn't do nothing. You've been out here for like 3 hours, yeah? I know. But you had your phone and you couldn't email the office and say, I'm in the hall. Oh, didn't think of that. I'm sorry. Didn't think of that. But we saw you post on Facebook, though. Oh, so. Right? So, yeah, definitely. This is wonderful. And as I told Sherry earlier, yes, we will put this up on Gullah Geechee TV, because last time I got inundated with email before we even premiered it on Gullah Geechee TV from y'all talking about, well, so-and-so didn't make it. We told them they should have came. Now they want to watch your presentation. Can we get the video? I'm like, I ain't bootlegging no video. Y'all watch it on Gullah Geechee TV. So we will have it on there. But definitely I appreciate you. And so, as we always say in the Gullah Geechee Nation, the water bring me, the water will take you back. I hope I'm taking you back into really thinking about how we all can work together even more. And as we always say at the Gullah Geechee Sea Coalition, one of us take care of the roots for you, the tree. So I hope I've given you a little bit more tools to even work on the land as well as in the waters. Peace and blessings. Thank you.